Good morning. In the previous lecture, we have studied the stresses in the composite material. When the two different materials, or maybe more than two, are rigidly connected, how to find out the load sharing and because of that load, how to find out the stresses and the elongation. Now here, since the materials are rigidly connected, they are not free to elongate separately. Okay. And since they are not free to elongate separately, in that case, I told you that the total load applied is share in the two different materials. So first you have to write down the load sharing relation. Load sharing relation, which is equal to P equal to P1 plus P2. P1 is the load shared by the material 1, P2 is the load shared by the material 2. And because of this P1, the stress induced in the material 1 is sigma 1. So the same equation can be written as sigma 1A1 plus sigma 2A2, where sigma 1 and sigma 2 are the stresses induced in the material 1 and 2 because of this P1 and P2. Okay, so from this one we can get one relation, either write first equation or second equation. Then next one you have to write down the strain relation. Okay, strain relation means you have to write down the relation of their deformation. And since for such type of situation, now this even the load sharing relation and the strain relation, in every sum you have to write these two equations. But the equation will be different. The load sharing won't be equal to P equal to P1 plus P2. Then this situation is there. Here when these two different materials are rigidly connected. Okay. And they are connected in parallel, and when the load is applied, here very simple case is this. In this one, this total load applied is sharing that two here, but depending on the different situation, we have to change the load sharing relation as well as the strain relation. Now, in this case, since these two materials are rigidly connected because of this external applied force, the deformation of both the material will remain same. Okay, so the relation of strain relation we can write down delta L1 equal to delta L2. This delta L1 you can write in terms of P1 and P2. Delta L1 and delta L2 you can write in terms of P1 and P2. Or it can be written in terms of sigma 1 and sigma 2. Yeah. For example, it is P1 L1 upon A1 E1 equal to P2 L2 upon A2 E2. This is equation in terms of P1 and P2. Or I can write sigma 1 L1 upon E1 equal to sigma 2 L2 upon E2. Okay, in this way we have to write down the strain relation and the load sharing relation. Okay, now last two sums what we have solved, in that one we have calculated the stresses induced in the two different materials because of some external forces. Okay, and at the end, in the last lecture itself I told you that what is the difference between the stresses induced, allowable stresses, yield stress, then ultimate stress and all these things. Now today we are going to solve the next sum, in which sum number 14 from your PDF. Okay, I am drawing the figure. This is one load W, which is supported by the three rods. This is one rod, this is another rod, and this is the third rod, and it is symmetrical. Okay, due to symmetry, the load shared by these two rods will be same. Okay, now this at the bottom, the support is like this. Means in fact here, the initial length of all the three rods are not same. Okay, this is the bronze rod, and this middle one is the steel rod. Two different materials are there, and they are connected. Actually, Between this, there is no any rigid condition, but they are symmetrically spacing. Spacing is symmetrical. And because of this load W, here, this is also steel. These both are same, sorry, brass. These both are same length, same cross-sectional area. Means the load shared by these two materials will also be, these two rods will also be same. Okay. So because of this W, here, let's see what we have to calculate. But here, the brass and the steel, we have to assume them as a rigidly connected. Here, they are not free to individual. Here, in this case, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि because of this load, only steel will compress and brass will not compress. Okay. Yeah, so we have to assume them as a rigidly connected. Now, in this one, it is given that a rigid block of weight W is supported by the three symmetrically spaced rods. This is symmetrically spaced rod. The branch rods are of 14 millimeter diameter and 300 millimeter in length. This branch is 300 millimeter length and its diameter is 14 millimeter. 14 millimeter. Both are of having the same length and same cross-sectional area. And the allowable stress is 90 megapascal. This is something new in this question. Allowable stress, here these allowable stresses are given. Allowable stresses. Here the allowable stress in the brass should not exceed than 90 megapascal. 90 megapascal means 90 Newton per millimeter square. While the steel rod is hollow with 20 millimeter and 16 millimeter being external and internal diameter. Here the steel rod, here for the steel rod, the external diameter, capital D and small d is given. External diameter is 20, internal diameter is 16. I am writing it here. And the length is 500 millimeter. This length of the steel is 500 millimeter. And the allowable stress in the steel is 120 Newton per millimeter square. Allowable stress in the steel is 120 megapascal, that is 120 Newton per millimeter square. Allowable stresses are given. Determine the safe maximum value of W which can be supported. You have to calculate corresponding to the safe allowable stresses. You have to calculate how much maximum safe load which we can apply on this system. Here, you have to calculate the W safe. Safe's load which we can apply, that we have to calculate corresponding to this condition, corresponding to this allowable stresses. Take ES equal to 200 GPa and EB equal to 80 GPa. Modulus of elasticity of the steel is 200 GPa, gigapascal, and modulus of elasticity of the brass is 80 gigapascal. Okay. Now, first thing, the difference between the previous question and this question is that in the previous question, the load applied on this composite material was given. Load applied was given. And corresponding to this load applied, we have calculated the stresses in material 1 and stress in material 2. Okay, just 1 minute. We have to calculate the stress induced in material. Sorry, we have calculated the stresses, induced stresses in material 1 and 2. Now, in this question, corresponding to this allowable stresses, here we have to calculate the safe load W. These are the allowable stresses in steel and the brass. Here, allowable stresses means these are the permissible stresses. During its service period, in any of the time, the stresses induced in the material should not go beyond this. These stresses, what we have calculated was different. These were the induced stresses, whereas these are the allowable stresses. Here, in stress strain diagram, normally these allowable stresses are within elastic limit. Here, these are the allowable stresses. Okay, and induced stresses here are always less than allowable stresses. Here, if the induced stresses goes beyond allowable stresses, we can say that these are not safe. Okay, here induced stresses may vary depending on the external applied load. Here, if the external applied load is less, the induced stresses will be less. Here, but these are the allowable stresses. This is the limitations. Here, the stresses induced in this material at any time should not go beyond that particular value. These are known as the allowable stress. Here, now corresponding to this allowable stress, we have to calculate the safe value of the load W. Again, remember one thing, whenever such type of composite material is there and the stresses in both the material, allowable stresses in both the materials are given, here it is not necessary that both the material will reach its permissible value of stresses simultaneously. Okay, here I am explaining this concept once again later here, but now we'll proceed with this. Here, so first I will calculate the area of cross-sectional area of steel and cross-sectional area of brass. Cross-sectional area of steel is pi by 4 into capital D square minus small d square. Calculate and tell me the answer. Cross-sectional area of the brass, I am considering only one brass rod. Here, if you consider the total cross-sectional area of the brass, then you have to consider 2 times. Here it is pi by 4 into 14 square. Okay. Here, so let not okay. Let make it 2 times. I'll explain you the next time. Tell me, how much is the area? Is it 113.1 millimeter square? Okay, no problem. And the second one, if you consider 2, it is 3007.89. Am I right? Okay, this is the cross-sectional area of the brass. This is the cross-sectional area of both the brass rod. Okay, they have calculated the cross-sectional area. Now let's write down the load sharing relation. The first step is load sharing relation. Okay, now this load which we are applying, this W load we are applying on these 2 rods. Here, this load which we are applying is sharing the 2 material. Here, now I am considering this brass rod, though even these are the 2 brass rods. Here, you can write down the relation, this total load applied is equal to the load shared by the brass plus load shared by the steel. Now, if you write it as a load shared by the brass, here then in terms of stress, when you will write PB equal to sigma B into AB, then this will be the area of the total brass rod, both the brass rods. Here, if you write it like this, 2 PB, here then it will be this is the load shared by only one brass rod, and in that case here you have to consider the area of only one brass rod. Ultimate equation will be same. Now since here I have considered the area of both the brass rod, so I will write down the equation W equal to PB plus PS. So this W equal to sigma B into AB plus it is sigma S into AS. Now I know AB and AS, let's substitute that. So W equal to AB is 307.89 into sigma B plus AS is 113.1 into sigma S. Say equation number 1. Look at the board now. Very important step. I substitute the value of the area and I have written this equation. Now in this equation there are 3 elements, W, sigma B and sigma S. In the last question what we have solved, the W was given, load applied was given, and we have calculated the stresses. Now remember one thing, this relation what we have written, in this one these are the induced stresses. These are the induced stresses because of this ultimate load W. These are the stresses induced because of the load W. Okay. Now here the student make the mistake that they directly substitute this value of the stresses in brass and steel. Both are given. Both are given. Here they directly substitute it here and calculate the value of load W. Okay. Now when you calculate this load W, this may not be safe for this because these are the allowable stresses given, whereas these are the induced stresses. Understood? So don't substitute these allowable stresses in this equation. Understood? Clear? Now, what to do? Now let's keep this equation as it is. Let's write down the strain relation. Strain relation. Okay. Now, because of symmetry and this, when this load W is applied, here because of this applied load W, here जो भी compression होगा, Here, because of this compressive load W, here जो भी compression होगा, that compression will remain same due to symmetry. Here, and this compression will be same for the brass as well as steel. Here, ऐसा नहीं होगा, ऐसा incline compression नहीं होगा. Here, due to the symmetry. Okay, here, so it is goes linearly downward, and because of that, the deformation or the compression of the brass and compression of the steel will remain same. So here, the strain relation, I can write down the delta LB equal to delta LS. Deformation of the brass is equal to the deformation of the steel. And this equation in terms of stress can be written as sigma B into LB upon EB equal to, this is stress induced in the steel into LS upon ES. Again, the sigma B and sigma S are the induced stresses because of any load applied. Okay, if you know the load applied easily, you can calculate the induced stresses by solving these two equations. Understood? But here we have to calculate the safe load W corresponding to this allowable stress. Now coming back to this. Last time what we have solved, that was length were equal, but here the lengths are not equal, so it won't get cancelled. So let's substitute the value of this LB and LS. Here, so I can write it sigma B into LB is how much? Length of the brass rod, it is 300, which is equal to this EB. I will take it over here, so it becomes EB upon ES into LS, length of the steel rod, which is 500 into sigma S. Now here, this is the modular ratio, or 1 upon modular ratio. Here EB upon ES, EB is given, ES is also given. Now this 300 and 500 are in millimeter. Here, so actually you can convert it into Newton per millimeter square. If you convert it into Newton per millimeter square, here, and if you consider the stresses value in Newton per millimeter square, load will also be in Newton. Okay, but now since it is the ratio, doesn't make any difference whether you keep substitute it in the GPa or convert it into Newton per millimeter square. Doesn't make any difference. Okay, so I'm writing over here. Okay, so it is sigma B into 300 equal to EB is 80 upon 200 into 500 into sigma S. Here this get cancelled. Okay, so sigma B equal to, it is 80 into 5 upon 600 sigma S. So you will get one relation between the induced stresses. Here sigma B equal to how much? 400 upon 600 or 600 upon 400, 1.5. So I can write sigma S equal to 1.5 times sigma B. Say equation number 2. Sigma S equal to 600 upon 400 into sigma B, and 600 upon 400 is 1.5. Okay. So I will get another relation between the induced stresses. Yeah, this is one relation and this is the another relation. Listen once again, these are the induced stresses, these are not the allowable stresses. Now, here next important thing is that if you observe this second equation, here this equation gives you the relation between the stresses induced in the steel and the brass for this configuration. For this configuration, the relation between the induced stresses in steel and the brass is this. For any load, this relation is remain as it is. Here for this configuration, this relation is not going to change for the induced stresses. Okay, here, so if you substitute this allowable stresses in this equation, it may not be satisfied. The reason is that here for any particular load, here both the allowable stresses won't reach or induce simultaneously. Here, it may happen that the stress induced in the steel reach its maximum allowable value of 120. At the same time, the stress induced in the brass may be greater than 90 or less than 90. It happens. Okay, so this is the relation between the stresses induced. Here, now what you have to do? Here, this is very important sum. Here on this concept, you have to solve the number of sums. Here on bending stresses and this shear stresses and all these things. Yeah. So this is very important concept. Okay. Now, so these are the induced stresses. These equations are in induced stresses in which you have to calculate the safe maximum load W, so such that the induced stresses should not go beyond this allowable value. Now, what I am going to do? on this system and apply such a load W such that let the stress induced in brass reach its maximum allowable value of how much? 90 megapascal, that is 90 Newton per millimeter square. Listen carefully. What is this? Okay. What I am assuming, I have applied such a load W. How much that load W that I don't know. लेकिन मैंने ऐसा लोड अप्लाई किया कि because of which the stresses induced in the brass reach its maximum allowable value. इतना लोड अप्लाई किया कि because of that load जो स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस होगा ब्रास में, yeah, that reach its maximum allowable value 90. इससे ज्यादा नहीं जाना चाहिए. इससे ज्यादा अगर जाता है तो that load is not a safe load. Okay, so मैं ऐसा लोड अप्लाई कर रहा हूं कि because of which the stresses induced in the brass reach its maximum, induced stresses in the brass reach its maximum allowable value of 90 Newton per millimeter square. Now next, because of this load then the stress induced in the brass reach its maximum value of 90 Newton per millimeter square corresponding to that load W, जिसकी वजह से ब्रास में 90 न्यूटन पर मिलीमीटर स्क्वायर स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस हो रहा है. Because of that load, what will be the stress induced in the steel? That we can calculate by using this relation. Because actually this is the induced stress because of that load W. Okay, हम लोग ऐसे अज्यूम करें कि इतना लोड अप्लाई किया है कि जिसकी वजह से स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस इन द ब्रास रीच इट्स मैक्सिमम परमिसिबल वैल्यू ऑफ 90. और जब ब्रास में 90 होगा तो करस्पॉन्डिंग टू दैट लोड W स्टील में कितना होगा? सो दैट वी कैन कैलकुलेट बाय यूजिंग दिस रिलेशन. दिस रिलेशन इज वैलिड फॉर इंड्यूस्ड स्ट्रेसेस ऑफ एनी लोड. Okay, so when sigma B equal to 90 Newton per meter square, substitute in equation number 2. So equation number 2, with the help of equation number 2, I can calculate the stress in the steel here, which is equal to 1.5 into 90. So which is equal to how much? 135 Newton per millimeter square. Okay, now listen carefully. Then the stress induced in the steel, brass is 90 Newton per millimeter square. Corresponding to that, for this situation, at the same time, स्टील में कितना स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस हो रहा है? 135 न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर. लेकिन स्ट्रेस स्टील का अलाउबल स्ट्रेस कितना है? इट इज ओनली 120. ओके, यार, सो सिंस दिस देन सिग्मा बी इज 90, अगर ब्रास में मैक्सिमम अलाउबल स्ट्रेस अगर इंड्यूस होता है तो करस्पॉन्डिंग स्ट्रेस इन द स्टील इज 135 न्यूटन पर मिलीमीटर स्क्वायर, व्हिच इज ग्रेटर देन 120 न्यूटन पर मिलीमीटर स्क्वायर. ओके, and corresponding to this 90 and this 135, अगर मैंने load W calculate किया, if I substitute this, now this is also the induced stress and this is also the induced stress. अगर ये 90 and ये 135 अगर इसमें substitute करता हूं तो जो load, एक load मिलेगा मुझे, I will get one load, but that won't be the safe load. जो load मिलेगा, that will be safe for the brass, but that may not be safe for the steel. Okay, suppose corresponding यहाँ पे मैंने सिग्मा B 90 डाला और ये सिग्मा S 135 डाला और corresponding to this मुझे लोड, लेट आई एम डिनोटिंग इट एज अ W1, लेट मुझे W1 मिलता है सपोज 100 किलो न्यूटन. तो ये 100 किलो न्यूटन लोड ब्रास के लिए तो सेफ रहेगा क्योंकि ये 100 किलो न्यूटन की लोड से ब्रास, यहाँ पे अगर 100 किलो न्यूटन लोड अप्लाई करता हूँ तो ब्रास में कितना स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस होता है? 90, which is allowable, it is safe. But that load may not be safe for steel because of this 100 kilonewton stress induced in the steel is 135 Newton per millimeter square, which is beyond permissible value of 120, and that's why this load will not be safe for the steel. It will be safe for the brass only. लेकिन हम लोगों को ऐसा value of W calculate करने का है कि which will be safe for steel as well as brass, which is the maximum permissible safe value of the load W. Understood this? यार, तो इसमें हम लोगों को ट्रायल एंड एरर लेना पड़ेगा. तो हमने अज्यूम किया कि पहले ऐसा लोड अप्लाई किया कि जिसकी वजह से स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस इन द ब्रास रीच इट्स मैक्सिमम अलाउबल वैल्यू ऑफ 90, and by using this equation we have calculated the corresponding induced stress in the steel, which comes 135, which is greater than the allowable value of 120 Newton per millimeter square. Okay, and hence it is not safe since it is greater than the allowable value. Here this is the allowable value. Since the induced stress is greater than the allowable stress, here so hence it is not safe. Corresponding to this stress value, if we calculate the load W, it won't be safe. Then what is the other option? So let's consider we apply the load W such that the stress induced in the steel reach its maximum value. Yes, अगर ये safe नहीं है तो दूसरा केस safe होगा ही. Okay, so I'm considering let the stress induced in the, now I'm rectifying here only. Here, if you have not written, just take the screenshot and write it later. Okay, because I'm rectifying this only. Okay, so this was the first case. Now I'm considering the second case. First case was not safe. अगर यहाँ पे safe आ जाता है तो no need to consider the second case. Okay, so let's consider the second case. Now in second case, I'm applying the load W, because of which the stress induced in the steel reach its maximum allowable value of 120 Newton per millimeter square. Yeah. So let the stress induced in the steel reach its maximum allowable value of, how much is the allowable value of in the steel? It is 120 Newton per millimeter square. Okay, इतना लोड अप्लाई कर रहे हैं कि because of which the stress induced in the steel reaches maximum permissible value of 120. और जब स्टील में का स्ट्रेस 120 पहुंचता है, corresponding to that load W, ब्रास में का स्टील कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे? So by using this formula. Okay, so use equation number 2. So if I use equation number 2 here, so here sigma B equal to sigma S upon 1.5. So it is 120 upon 1.5. How much is this? How much? 80? It is 80 Newton per millimeter square.
Yes, sir, 88.
Okay. So when the stress induced in the steel is 120 for this configuration corresponding to the load W, the stress induced in the brass is 80. And this 80 is within the given permissible limit. Permission, कितने का permission है? 90 तक का. Yeah, but induced stresses are only 80. So which is less than allowable value of 90 Newton per millimeter square. So hence it is safe. Okay. So we have to calculate the safe load W by considering the sigma S is 120 and corresponding stress in the brass is 80 and not 90. Okay, here, so the safe value of load W, substitute this sigma S and sigma B, 80, not 90, 120 and 80 in equation number 1 and you will get this W. Since the stresses are in Newton per millimeter square, W will also be in Newton. Here calculate this safe value. This is the safe value of the W. Because of this safe value, here the stresses induced in both the materials are within permissible limit. Because of this W, both the material will be safe. दोनों में से किसी में भी the induced stresses won't go beyond this permissible value. Tell me how much is the answer? Calculate, substitute this sigma S and sigma B in this equation number 1 and tell me the value of W. This is one important announcement tomorrow in the SOM lecture at 9:30 morning. Will address you related to the mini project. How you have to select the mini project. Okay, your mini project should not be just to collect some electronics component and mount it on one PCB and just like a do-it-yourself project. Okay, it should be related to some mechanical engineering. So tomorrow everybody should be present in the morning at 9:30. Mechanical as well as civil. Tell me how much is the answer? Why so much time is required?
Sir, 38203.2 Newton.
38203. Okay, little bit. So 38 kilonewton approximately. The safe value of the load W should be 38 kilonewton. Okay, so 38.2 kilonewton. Here, so safe value equal to 38.2 kilonewton. Now listen carefully. This is our answer, final answer. Okay. अगर मैं इतना सेफ लोड अप्लाई करता हूं तो ये दोनों मटेरियल में से किसी भी मटेरियल में द इंड्यूस्ड स्ट्रेसेस बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लोड won't go beyond this allowable. Understood? Here, all of you unmute and answer my question. Okay. Now, and we have calculated this assuming that the stress induced in the steel reach its maximum allowable value of 120. Okay. Now, this because of this safe load, the induced stresses are 120 and 80. Okay. Now, if I apply the load on this configuration, here in this situation, if I apply the load of 39 kilonewton, what will happen? Answer my question. What will happen if the load applied is 39 kilonewton? Definitely it will not be safe because maximum safe value is 38.2. Okay, but what will happen? Because of 39, interpret this. Tell me.
System may get fail.
System, definitely if it is not safe, the system will get fail. But how it will fail?
Not suddenly, but they can give a call before failure.
If it is a ductile material, steel is a ductile material.
Sir, it might become a bit brittle.
No. Listen carefully. We are not going to do any analysis related to the failure and all these things. Okay, means कैसे fail होगा, brittle तो नहीं होगा, लेकिन और brittle होगा भी तो अपने पास allowable stresses है. Listen carefully. What I want to tell you. Now this is the 38.2 safe maximum load W. अगर इतना, answer my question. अगर मैं इतना load apply करता हूँ 38.2 kilonewton, how much is the stress induced in the steel? (38.2 kilonewton से
maximum
कितना?
120.
करेक्ट. और ये लोड की वजह से फॉर दिस सिचुएशन हाउ मच इज द स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस्ड इन द ब्रास?
80 Newton.
इट इज 80. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस स्टील में 120 होगा और ब्रास में 80 होगा. ओके, बोथ विल बी सेफ, both material will be safe because the allowable value it will not cross the allowable value. लेकिन अगर मैं ये लोड इंक्रीज कर देता हूं 38.2 से अगर मैं 39 करता हूं तो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लोड बढ़ रहा है तो दोनों में से स्ट्रेस, दोनों मटेरियल के स्ट्रेसेस भी बढ़ेंगे. क्लियर? तो ये 120 से ज्यादा होगा, इट मे बिकम 125 and this will become 80 to 85, not exact figure. These are not the exact figure, but since I am applying, increasing the load, the stress induced in both the material will also increase. Okay, here, so because of this load, listen, we have calculated this safe load corresponding to the maximum allowable stress in the steel. Okay, अगर मैं उससे थोड़ा ज्यादा लोड अप्लाई करता हूं तो because of that load, the stress induced in the steel go beyond its permissible value. Here, because of this load, the stress induced in the brass may not go beyond the permissible value. वो 80 का 85 हो जाएगा, 90 तक नहीं पहुंचेगा. ओके, इसका मतलब अगर मैंने 38.2 किलोन्यूटन में से अगर 39 कर दिया तो this load may be safe for the brass here but may not be safe for the steel. Means because of this 39 kilonewton पहले steel fail होगा और फिर brass fail होगा. In fact, brass fail ही नहीं होगा, but because of that failure in the steel, the brass may get affected. Here, so 38.2 is the safe. उससे अगर मैंने थोड़ा ज्यादा कर दिया तो पहले steel fail होगा. Understood? Here, मेरा क्वेश्चन का मतलब क्या था कि कैसे फेल होगा, इसका मतलब कि because of this 39 kilonewton पहले steel fail होगा फिर brass fail होगा. The reason is that because of this 39 kilonewton, the induced stresses in the steel go beyond the permissible value of 120. because we have calculated the safe value of the load W, considering that the maximum, the stress induced in the steel reach its maximum value of 120. The induced stresses is equal to the permissible stresses. Here, is that clear? Understood this?
Yes, sir.
ओके अगर मैं इससे इससे कम अप्लाई करता हूं 38.2 किलो न्यूटन से अगर मैं 35 किलो न्यूटन फोर्स अप्लाई करता हूं तो डेफिनेटली इट विल बी सेफ. ये देखो ये स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन डायग्राम है. हियर दीज आर द परमिसिबल वैल्यू. क्लियर? कौन सी भी मटेरियल में ले लो, दिस इज द परमिसिबल वैल्यू. करस्पॉन्डिंग टू दिस परमिसिबल वैल्यू द लोड इज 38.2. अगर मैं 38.2 से कम लोड अप्लाई करता हूं तो इंड्यूस्ड स्ट्रेसेस विल बी लेस देन द परमिसिबल वैल्यू एंड इट विल बी सेफ. मतलब इससे कम अगर लोड अप्लाई करता हूं तो इसमें से इसका इंड्यूस्ड स्ट्रेस एज वेल एज द स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस्ड इन द ब्रास, हियर बोथ विल बी विद इन परमिसिबल लिमिट एंड बोथ द मटेरियल विल बी सेफ. Understood? Here and both the material will be safe till 38.2 kilonewton. Beyond 38.2 kilonewton, steel will not be safe. Here the critical material is steel in that situation. Here steel is more critical. पहले steel fail होगा. Understood this? Here hope that from this sum it is clear about the induced stresses and the permissible stresses. Here very important concept. Okay. Now next question. Okay. Now stresses in indeterminate structure. I think I have provided the PDF till this sum only. Today I will provide you the next PDF. Okay. Next one is stresses in indeterminate structure.
Sir, right little downwards. We cannot see that.
Okay, fine. Write down stresses in indeterminate structure. After that, I will write it down. Now, listen to me. The first question is that what is meant by indeterminate structure? So remember, indeterminate structure is a structure in which we cannot calculate the support reaction just by using the conditions of equilibrium. Okay. For example, suppose this is the beam. यहाँ पे भी hinge है, यहाँ पे भी hinge है, and some forces are applied here. Incline force UDL is there. So this system is in equilibrium. Okay, here, so here hinge, so total unknowns are 4, which we cannot calculate by using only just 3 conditions of equilibrium. By using 3 conditions of equilibrium, we have only 3 conditions, and by using 3 conditions, we can get only 3 equations, and by using 3 equations, we can calculate at the most 3 unknowns and not the 4 unknowns. Here, such type of structure is known as an indeterminate structure. In this indeterminate structure, also we can calculate the support reaction. But for that, we have to use some other concept along with the conditions of equilibrium. Only conditions of equilibrium are not enough. We have to use some other concept. Okay. So here we are going to calculate the stresses induced in such type of indeterminate structure, as well as how to calculate the support reactions by using the concept of stresses. Okay. I'll draw the figure.
Sir, what is the weightage of this chapter in the exam?
This is very important lesson, first lesson, and from exam point of view, here the weightage for this lesson is at least 16 marks. Okay, but don't see it from the exam point of view. Okay, this concept, this lesson is very, very important and basic lesson here for your further subjects, for drawing, for design and all these things. Okay. Once these concepts are clear, the remaining lessons are very easy. ओके इसके पहले का जैसे जो सम सॉल्व किया कंपोजिट मटेरियल एंड अलाउबल स्ट्रेसेस एंड परमिसिबल स्ट्रेसेस, ये बाकी बहुत सारे सम्स में आने वाला है और प्रोसीजर यही है, पहले उसका स्ट्रेस का इंड्यूस स्ट्रेसेस का रिलेशन कैलकुलेट करने का है एंड देन अज्यूम दैट वंस द स्ट्रेस इंड्यूस इन वन मटेरियल रीचेस मैक्सिमम परमिसिबल वैल्यू, find out the corresponding stress in other material, check whether it is safe or not, if not go for the second case. Here so this is remain same. Okay, इसके बाद में जब ये situation आएगा so I am not going to explain you this much. I hope that this concept is clear for you. Okay, so this is one material, this is one straight rod fixed at this end, it is fixed. Yeah, means you can consider that support reaction, horizontal support component, vertical support as well as reactive moment. Here if lateral loadings are there. Here for this, here it is A support, don't draw this, this is B, this end is C, this the area is 200 millimeters square, directly area is given, area is 200 millimeters square. This cross-sectional area is 50 millimeters square. This length is 2400 millimeter and this length is 1200 millimeter. Okay. Now for this rod, one force of 7 kilonewton is applied at B. 7 kilonewton load is applied at intermediate point B. Here. Now, tell me, just imagine, suppose one force of 7 kilonewton is applied at point B. Okay, and one support is here. Okay, now because of this, एक reactive force इधर भी generate होगा. Here, and यहाँ पे fix है. Yeah, so here since it is a fixed support, so here horizontal component, vertical component and the reactive moment will also be there. But in this system, since there is no any vertical load, here this vertical component of reactive force will zero. Here and there won't be any external moment produced by any force. इसका भी moment zero है, इसका भी moment zero है. अगर यहाँ पे कोई vertical force रहता था तो उसका एक moment generate होता था यहाँ पे. और ये moment को balance करने के लिए हम लोगों को एक reactive moment लगता था. Here, but since there won't be any lateral loading, here this reactive moment भी generate नहीं होगा और ये vertical component भी generate नहीं होगा. Here since there is only horizontal external applied force, इसको balance करने के लिए सिर्फ यहाँ पे एक reactive force, horizontal force generate होगा. Vertical and reactive moment नहीं रहेगा because it is subjected to only axial loading, no lateral loading. Okay. Now here let this reaction is RA and let this reaction is RB. Understood? Here to balance this 7 kilonewton load, एक इधर भी reaction induce होगा, एक इधर भी reaction induce होगा. And if I assume that this RA is also towards left, to balance this 7 kilonewton is acting towards right, so the reactive forces will be towards left. Okay. So here, if I use summation of Fx equal to 0, I can only write RA plus RB equal to 7 kilonewton or 7 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Here I can write only one equation by using summation of Fx equal to 0. Understood? Here if I use for this system, if I use summation of Fy equal to 0 and summation of M equal to 0, I will not get any useful result. Okay, means even if I apply the three conditions of equilibrium, in that three equations I will get only one equation, and in that one equation there are two unknowns, RA and RB. So such type of system or structure is known as an indeterminate structure, in which we cannot calculate this support reaction just by using only conditions of equilibrium. We have to use some other concept. Okay, and what concept we are going to use? Here we are going to use the same what we have learned about the deformation and stresses induced in the material. Okay, now again in this question, what is given? Here is one rigid support. Here at this free end also one rigid support is there, but between this rigid support there is some certain wall is there, and between this rigid support and this free end of this material, before applying the load of 7 kilonewton, there is a gap of 0.3 millimeter. There is a gap of 0.3 millimeter. Before applying this 7 kilonewton load, here situation is like this. There is a gap of 0.3 millimeter. और उसके बाद में हमने 7 kilonewton का load apply किया. Okay. Here, what is the question in this sum? It is given that determine the support reactions when the member ABC is actually loaded by 7 kilonewton at point B as shown in the figure. Also find the stresses induced in each part. In each part, how much is the stresses induced? E is 2 into 10 raised to 5 megapascal. Here for this material, E equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5 megapascal, Newton per millimeter square. Okay. Now, you have to calculate the support reactions. Here now there is a gap. ये गैप जब तक एग्जिस्ट रहेगा इधर का सपोर्ट रिएक्शन इंड्यूस नहीं होगा. ये सपोर्ट रिएक्शन तभी इंड्यूस होगा जब ये एंड इसको टच करेगा. ओके यार, नाउ इन दिस केस व्हाट विल हैपन, जब तक ये गैप रहेगा 0.3 मिलीमीटर, दिस 7 किलोन्यूटन लोड इज बैलेंस्ड बाय दिस आरए. But once, because of this 7 kilonewton, this AB part will get elongated. Okay, here 7 kilonewton की वजह से AB get elongated, and this BC will just get shifted. Initially जब तक ये गैप रहेगा तब तक BC का डिफॉर्मेशन नहीं होगा. ये गैप जब तक रहेगा, listen carefully, ये जब तक गैप है तब तक अगर AB में मुझे अगर मैं एक्सियल फोर्स कैलकुलेट करता हूं तो कैलकुलेट द एक्सियल फोर्स. Let's consider one imaginary section through AB, and in that one the axial force acting on the AB is 7 kilonewton when this gap is there. Here, and when I consider FBD of the part BC, and if I take the section of this part BC, on right hand side there is no force because of this gap, is reaction induced हुआ ही नहीं है. Here, and hence the axial force in this part is 0. Here, since the axial force in this part BC is 0, there won't be any deformation initially of BC. Here, सिर्फ AB का deformation होगा because of this 7 kilonewton load. Next important thing, when we apply the 7 kilonewton load at point B, only AB will elongated, BC will just get shifted towards right. Okay, and initially when, because of this 7 kilonewton, if the deformation of AB is greater than 0.3, listen carefully. When deformation of AB because of 7 kilonewton load, axial load, is greater than 0.3, here तो ही ये एंड इधर टच होगा और ये इधर एंड इधर टच होने के बाद में ही ये रिएक्टिव फोर्स जनरेट होगा. It means that the reactive force at this point C, I am denoting it as a C only, reactive force at point C will generate only if the deformation of only AB because of this 7 kilonewton is greater than 0.3. Okay, and in such type of question, here definitely it will be greater than 0.3. Here or let's check. But have you understood the question, concept कि पहले ये 7 kilonewton सिर्फ AB पे एक्ट हो रहा है, BC पे नहीं. Here because of this gap. और जब गैप फिल होगा, ये जब इधर टच होगा तो इधर रिएक्टिव फोर्स इंड्यूस होगा और इधर रिएक्टिव फोर्स इंड्यूस हुआ कि दिस 7 kilonewton is balanced by RA plus RC, and in that case then the reactive force is induced or axial force is induced in the part BC. जब तक ये गैप है BC पे कोई भी axial force इंड्यूस नहीं होगा, and because of this 7 kilonewton there will be only deformation of AB and BC will just get shifted towards right. Okay, so to check whether RC, reaction at point C, induced or not. ये कब इंड्यूस होगा? If delta L of AB is greater than 0.3 due to 7 kilonewton. So I am calculating the deformation of AB because of the 7 kilonewton. So let's calculate the delta L AB, which is equal to PL upon AE. और ये जब गैप है इधर तो एक्सियल फोर्स इंड्यूस इन द AB, ये P, axial force induced in the AB is 7 kilonewton only. So it is 7 into 10 raised to 3 into length of AB 2400 upon area of AB 200 into modulus of elasticity. It is 2 into 10 raised to 5 megapascal, that is Newton per millimeter square. Okay, this much is the deformation of the AB because of this 7 kilonewton. Tell me how much is that?
Sir, 0.42.
0.42 millimeter. Okay, and this is
Sir.
greater than 0.3. हाँ बोलो.
Sir, it will be 0.042.
नहीं नहीं नहीं, it is 0.42. You cross check once again. Have converted this kilonewton into Newton
Yes, sir.
because E is in megapascal, that is Newton per minute.
Sir, in the denominator 10 raised to 5 आहे ना ते सर.
it is
हा
10
सर
raised to
ते 10
5.
raised to 6 दिसतंय म्हणून ते 0.042 येईल.
It is 10 raised to 5. ये है ना इधर. It is 5, 10 raised to 5. Cross check, it is 0.42. 2 into 10 raised to 5 ले लो. Okay.
Yes sir,
So it is-
now it's 0.42.
ओके, इसका मतलब है जब ये 7 किलोटन फोर्स यहाँ पे अप्लाई करेंगे तो इनिशियली ये 7 किलोटन सिर्फ इस पे ही एक्ट होगा और ये बीसी जस्ट शिफ्ट होगा. यार अगर ये सपोर्ट रहता ही नहीं है तो ये एंड कहां तक मूव हो सकता है? 0.42 मिलीमीटर से. लेकिन 0.3 मिलीमीटर के बाद में एक रिजिड सपोर्ट है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट सम डिफॉर्मेशन ऑफ दैट AB is restricted, and because of this 7 kilonewton and the motion is restricted, यहाँ पे एक रिएक्टिव फोर्स जनरेट होगा. यार ये यहाँ पे टच हो जाएगा एंड रिएक्टिव फोर्स विल जनरेट हियर RC. Understood? Here, means now you have to calculate RA and RC. Here, this value part what we have sought, it is just to cross check whether this reactive force generate or not. If this would have been come 0.042 millimeter, क्या होता था? अगर ये 7 किलोटन की, because of the 7 kiloton is the deformation of the part AB 0.042, which will be less than 0.3. यार तो ये इधर टच ही नहीं होता था और ये रिएक्शन डेवलप ही नहीं होता था. And in that case, this RA will be equal to 7 kilonewton directly. Question is very finished. Understood? Yeah. So, but since this deformation is greater than 0.3, so this free end will touch to this rigid support and the reactive force will induce there. Okay. So let's assume that this end is touched to this support and when reactive force is generated. Yeah. Now we have to solve the question as usual. यार अपना क्वेश्चन अभी अगर ये सपोर्ट रिएक्शन निकाल देता हूं मैं, इफ आई रिमूव द सपोर्ट रिएक्शन, यहाँ पे एक रिएक्टिव फोर्स आरसी हो गया और ये आरए हो गया. मतलब अपना क्वेश्चन जो हमने पहले स्टडी किया था स्टेप रॉड का, उसमें का डिफॉर्मेशन कैसे कैलकुलेट करने का, उसमें का स्ट्रेसेस कैसे कैलकुलेट करने का, वैसा सम बन जाएगी अभी. ओके क्लियर? सो हियर नाउ we have to calculate the RA and RC and the stresses induced in these two parts. Here the remaining part is simple, not that difficult. It is based on this here. So here now I am going to write the relation between RA and RC और उसको मैं बोलता हूँ लोड शेयरिंग रिलेशन. ये जो 7 किलो न्यूटन लोड अप्लाई कर रहा हूँ ये दो पार्ट में डिवाइड शेयर हो रहा है. लोड शेयरिंग रिलेशन. अभी यहाँ पे ये लोड शेयरिंग रिलेशन यूज लिखने के लिए आई एम गोइंग टू यूज समेशन ऑफ fx इक्वल टू 0. आप डायरेक्टली भी लिख सकते हैं. एंड दिस अज्यूम डायरेक्शन ऑफ RA and RC टुवर्ड्स लेफ्ट. Yeah, so if I use summation of fx equal to 0, I will get relation RA plus RC equal to 7 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Equation number 1. I am taking it in the Newton. Okay, एक relation मिल गया मुझे, load sharing relation RA and RC. Now I have to write down the strain relation. अभी देखो, ये RA और RC के टर्म में ही रखा है मैंने, स्ट्रेस के फॉर्म में नहीं लिखा है. Let's write it in terms of load only. Okay, now strain relation. I told you that the strain relation is nothing but the relation between their deformation. Understood? Here, now what strain relation here we can write? Now initially, here there is a gap of 0.3. Now when I apply the 7 kilonewton load, here it may happen that both supports are the rigid supports, which will not elongate, which will not deform. Okay, so because of this 7 kilonewton, ये दोनों पार्ट का जो भी axial deformation होगा, here that axial deformation of both the material will be 0.3 only. Understood? Means here the strain relation I can write down the delta L of AB plus delta L of BC is equal to 0.3 millimeter. Have you understood this relation? Because of this 7 kilonewton, ये दोनों का जो एक्सियल इलांगेशन या डिफॉर्मेशन होगा वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा 0.3 ही हो सकता है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं. ओके क्लियर। अभी इसमें ये भी हो सकता है कि इसका डिफॉर्मेशन बिकॉज ऑफ दिस 7 किलोन्यूटन अगर ये सपोर्ट रहता ही नहीं है तो इसका डिफॉर्मेशन कितना होता है 0.42, बट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस at 0.3 millimeter distance, because of this rigid support, it won't elongate up to this 0.42. Okay, और उसके बाद में ये RC induce हो रहा है, तो it may happen that here the deformation of this delta LBC here it may be 0.38 यार, और इसका डिफॉर्मेशन अगर 0.38 होता है तो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रिएक्टिव फोर्स इट में गेट कंप्रेस्ड यार, मतलब इसका कंप्रेशन होगा 0.08 से यार, मतलब दोनों का डिफॉर्मेशन 0.3 से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, दोनों का इलोंगेशन शुड नॉट बी ग्रेटर देन 0.6 यार, और ये कितना होगा दैट आई डोंट नो यार। डोंट सब्स्टिट्यूट डेल्टा एल ए बी इक्वल टू 0.42 ओके यार, दिस वोंट बी 0.42, ये 0.42 तभी रहेगा जब ये सपोर्ट नहीं रहेगा। ओके, सो दिस बिकम द स्ट्रेन रिलेशन। Yeah, this is the load sharing relation, this is the strain relation for this situation. Understood? Now I have to write down this delta L AB and delta L BC. Now this is the deformation of the part AB because of the axial force induced in the part AB, and this delta L BC is the deformation of the part BC because of the axial force induced in the part BC. So we have to find out how much is the axial force in the AB and how much is the axial force in the BC. Yeah, our situation is like this now. Here there is a 7 kilonewton, here there is a RA and here there is a RC. These are the assumed direction of RA and RC. ऐसा situation है. Okay. Now I have to find out the axial force in part AB. Now to find out the axial force in the part AB, let's consider the FBD of AB and this is the FBD of BC. And to find out the axial force in AB, the same concept what we used to find out the axial force in AB, let's consider one imaginary section through AB. And take the algebraic summation of the forces on AB one side. On left hand side there is only one RA and which is tensile. So AB is subjected to an axial force of RA. Here it is RA, so here also it will be RA. Okay. And how much is the axial force in BC? Take the imaginary section of BC and take the algebraic summation of the forces on any one side. Okay. So on right hand side there is only one force RC which is compressive. So this is RC compressive. And to balance this, here also there will be a compressive RC. Here, this axial force in AB is RA, which is tensile in nature, and axial force in BC is RC, which is compressive in nature. Because of this tensile axial force, this will elongate, and because of this compressive axial force, it will get contract. Means here there is an increase in length, in BC there is a decrease in length because it gets compressed. Okay, so this delta LAB is the deformation of the part AB because of this RA, and this delta LBC is the deformation of the BC because of this RC. और दोनों का deformation का summation 0.3 है. Here, so I am going to substitute it here. This delta LAB, which is subjected to the tensile, so this will be the increase in length. Okay, so since it is increasing length, I will write this equation RA into length of AB upon PL upon AE. This area of the AB is 200 into E is 2 into 10 raised to 5, which is equal to, sorry, not equal to, delta LAB plus, now this second part is subjected to the compressive force. So its length will get decreased. There is a decrease in length. Now since it is decrease in length, either you write here itself negative or write here plus and then write here negative because of decrease in length. Here, so how much is the axial force in BC? It is RC into how much is the length of BC? 1200. Here also length is known to you. It is 2400. Okay, upon area of the BC 50 into length of the BC 1200. Sorry. E for BC it is 2 into 10 raised to 5, which is equal to 0.3. This is the deformation of AB, deformation of BC. दोनों का deformation 0.3 is allowed. Okay, have understood this? Is that clear why I have considered this as a negative sign? Because this is the increase in length, this is the decrease in length. दोनों का summation कितना रहता है? Increase in length is 0.3. Okay, Here, since it is the increase in length, I have considered it as a positive. This is the decrease in length, I have considered it as a negative. Or you can say that since it is tensile, so positive, compressive, so negative. That else you can think. Now solve this equation number, say this as equation number 2. Solve 1 and 2, you will get RA and RC, reactive forces. If these answers are positive, assumed directions are correct. If any one is negative, that negative sign indicates that the assumed direction is wrong. Okay, so solve this, you will get RA and RC. And once you get RA and RC, then stress in the part AB is equal to the axial force in RA. How much? Sorry, axial force in AB. How much? It is RA. So sigma AB equal to RA upon cross-sectional area of AB. Okay, and stress in the part BC equal to the axial force in BC. How much is the axial force in BC? It is RC. ये दोनों का वैल्यू आपको यहाँ पे मिल जाएगा upon area of BC. Okay. Now on this part AB, the axial force is tensile in nature. That's why this stress is tensile in nature, and this stress in BC, it is subjected to the compressive axial force. So the stresses are compressive. Don't write here negative. Instead of that, write down the magnitude and write here nature, that is compressive. Here we have taken this as a negative because we have to take the algebraic summation of these two. And that's why we use here negative sign. Calculate.
Sir, RA is 6333.33.
Right.
And RB is 666.66.
Correct answer. Both answers are correct. And both are positive. Means both assumed directions are correct. Okay. Since both assumed directions are correct, AB is in tension, BC is in compression. And because of that, RA and RC now calculate the stresses in AB and BC. Okay. Thank you. So tomorrow at 9:30, all of you have to be present. There will be the discussion about the mini project. Thank you.